First contact, final mistake. The colony of New Eden represented humanity's farthest reach into the stars. 12 light-years from Earth, it was home to 50,000 souls who had journeyed to create a new beginning on a pristine world of azure skies and emerald fields. Terraforming had been completed decades earlier, and the settlement had grown from a collection of prefab modules into a thriving community of farms, research centers, and a small spaceport. Dr. Elena Reyes stood on the observation deck of New Eden's small orbital station, watching as the colony's agricultural drones worked the vast fields below. Her daughter had just started school last week, and Elena promised she'd bring back a souvenir from her week-long stint managing the orbital weather control systems. The colony had celebrated its 25th anniversary just last month. 25 years of peace, growth, and hope. They never saw the Varaxian scout ships approaching. By the time the edge sensors detected the gravitational wake of multiple vessels dropping out of FTL, it was already too late. The Varaxian Imperium had been exploring this sector for decades. Their civilization, ancient and vast, had spread across hundreds of star systems through a philosophy built on absolute security. Their evolutionary path on a harsh, predator-filled world had instilled a single driving principle: eliminate all potential threats before they could evolve into actual ones. High Commander Tsarek of the Varaxian fleet observed the small human settlement through the sensory array of his dreadnought. His chitinous face, with its 6 compound eyes and mandible-framed mouth, betrayed no emotion as the tactical analysis completed. Unknown species reported his second-in-command. Primitive space capability, limited defensive infrastructure, approximately 50,000 individuals. Sarek's translator implant converted his clicking speech into standard Varaxian for his crew. Any communication with their homeworld. Intermittent quantum entanglement transmissions. We've located their origin point approximately 12 light-years from here. Sarek considered the information. These humans were spreading, colonizing. Their technology was basic compared to Varaxian standards, but they were clearly intelligent and adaptable. In a few centuries, they might become a genuine threat. Varaxian doctrine was clear. The decision took him less than 5 seconds. "Commence extinction protocol," he ordered. On the orbital station, Elena was the first to notice the approaching ships. "Control, we have multiple unidentified vessels entering orbit. No AFF signals, no response to hails." Station Commander Jackson appeared beside her, face grim as he studied the readings. "Defense Protocol Alpha, send the emergency beacon to Earth. Now." Elena rushed to the communications array, fingers flying over the controls as she prepared the quantum entanglement transmitter. This technology was reserved solely for emergencies, instantaneous communication across light years, but with extremely limited bandwidth. The message had to be short, complete, vital. Earth Command, New Eden under attack by unknown alien fleet. No warning, no communication. Multiple capital ships. There. The station shuddered as the first energy beams lanced through its hull. Elena watched in horror as the colony below erupted in blossoming explosions, methodical and precise. The agricultural sector, the residential domes, the research facilities, all targeted simultaneously. With trembling hands, she added one final line to the transmission. "They're killing everyone." She hit send as the station's hull breached. The quantum signal, a burst of data containing sensor readings, visual feeds, and her desperate message, shot toward Earth, undetectable and unstoppable. Helena never saw the beam that vaporized the communications center seconds later. On the planet below, the extermination was methodical. Varaxian ground forces deployed only where necessary, their armor impervious to the colonists' desperate defense. They moved through the settlement with practiced efficiency, ensuring no survivors remained. Buildings were demolished, infrastructure destroyed, and bodies incinerated. 3 hours after the first ship appeared, the colony of New Eden ceased to exist. Commander Tsarek observed the final scans, confirming that no human life signs remained. We will dispatch hunter-killer probes to track any emergency vessels that may have escaped. Set course for the primary human world. We will end this potential threat at its source." His fleet prepared to depart, unaware that Alina's final message had already reached Earth. In the heart of the United Earth Defense Command in Geneva, Admiral Helena Chen stared at the fragmented data from New Eden. The room was silent as the senior command staff absorbed the implications of what they were seeing. 50,000 civilian colonists, annihilated without warning or provocation. "Verification complete," announced the AI interface. "Quantum signature confirmed. Message authenticity at 100%. Attack occurred at 7:42 hours, colony time." General Marcus Williams, commander of Earth's Joint Military Forces, broke the silence. "Options." Admiral Chen's voice was steady, her eyes fixed on the sensor readings showing the alien fleet's capabilities. New Eden was 12 light-years out. At maximum FTL, these ships could reach Earth in approximately 2 weeks. "Then we have 2 weeks to prepare," Williams replied. "I want every defense platform activated, every ship recalled, and all reserve forces mobilized." Chen shook her head slowly, her expression hardening. "No, General. We don't prepare to defend." She enlarged the holographic display, highlighting the alien ship's energy signatures and weapon capabilities. "We prepare to hunt." Within hours, Earth entered a state of total mobilization, not seen since the resource wars a century earlier. Every shipyard and manufacturing center shifted to military production. Dormant weapons programs were reactivated. Experimental technologies were rushed into final development. 3 days after New Eden's final transmission, the United Earth Council met in emergency session. The debate was brief, the vote unanimous. For the first time in its history, humanity declared a war of extinction. General Williams addressed the combined military command, his voice echoing through secure channels to bases across Earth and the Sol system colonies. "The species that attacked New Eden made a fundamental error," he stated. "They assumed we would respond as they would, with fear, with retreat, with defensive preparations." He activated the holographic display, showing the assault plan developed by Earth's strategic AI and military planners. "They don't understand what they've awakened. Humanity has spent its entire history struggling to overcome its own violent nature. We've worked for centuries to channel our capacity for war into peaceful cooperation." William's eyes hardened as he looked around the room. "But we never lost that capacity. We just chose not to use it. Until now." The first wave of Earth ships departed 3 days later, not toward Earth to establish a defensive perimeter, but outward, toward New Eden and beyond. Hunter ships designed for speed and stealth rather than head-on combat. Intelligence gatherers, pathfinders, the Vengeance Fleet, as it was already being called in unofficial channels, would follow soon after. In the shipyards orbiting Mars, Admiral Chen supervised the final preparations of the UES Nemesis, Earth's newest and most advanced warship. Previously a classified research vessel testing experimental weapons, it had been rapidly converted into the fleet's flagship. "The enemy believes they found an easy target," she told her gathered officers. "A species they can exterminate without consequence. They believe we're primitive, vulnerable, unprepared." She pulled up the last images transmitted from New Eden. Burning buildings, civilians being methodically executed, children's bodies scattered across what had been a school playground. "They've made the last mistake their species will ever make." As the Earth forces prepared for humanity's first interstellar war, few questioned the extremity of their response. The genocide at New Eden had awakened something primal in the human psyche. A cold, calculating rage that transcended simple vengeance. This would not be a war for territory or resources, not a war of conquest or subjugation. This would be a hunt, and it would end only when the last of the aliens who had dared to exterminate human children had been erased from the galaxy. The hunters were coming. The silent hunt begins. The Varaxian outpost on the gas giant's moon was a minor installation, a refueling station, and sensor array designed to monitor this unremarkable sector of space. The 12 Varaxian personnel stationed there performed their duties with the efficiency expected of their species, scanning nearby systems for potential threats and ensuring supply ships could safely navigate the region. None of them noticed the human ships that drifted silently into position around their outpost, engines cold, emissions dampened, hulls coated with light-absorbing metamaterials developed originally for deep space scientific observation. Captain Sofia Novak of the UEA Shadowclaw observed the Varaxian outpost through passive sensors. Her ship, along with 3 others of its class, had been dispatched as the vanguard of humanity's response. Originally designed as stealth reconnaissance vessels, they had been hastily retrofitted with cutting-edge weapon systems before deployment. "Confirm pattern match," she ordered quietly. Her tactical officer nodded. "Confirmed, Captain. Energy signatures are identical to those recorded at New Eden. These are the same species." Novik's face remained expressionless. Like everyone in the fleet, she had watched the footage from New Eden, had seen what these creatures had done to unarmed civilians, to children. "Commence Operation Ghostfall," she ordered. No transmissions, no survivors. The assault was over in less than 3 minutes. Precision-guided kinetic penetrators. Tungsten rods accelerated to near-relativistic speeds, struck the outpost's power core and communications array simultaneously. Before the Varaxians could react, human strike teams in advanced stealth suits had breached the facility. Inside, the engagement was brief and one-sided. The Varaxians, accustomed to being the apex predators, found themselves hunted through their own corridors by enemies they could barely detect. Specialized ammunition designed to penetrate their chitinous armor ensured each shot was lethal. Captain Novik led her team through the facility's command center. A wounded Varaxian attempted to activate an emergency beacon. She ended its effort with a single shot. "Secure their data systems," she ordered. "Download everything. Then plant the quantum disruptors." Her team worked with practiced efficiency. Earth's best xenolinguists and cryptographers had developed translation algorithms based on the limited data captured from New Eden. Even with partial comprehension, the information they extracted from the outpost would provide crucial intelligence. Meanwhile, other team members placed tiny devices throughout the facility, quantum disruptors that would erase all evidence of the human attack by literally unwriting the fabric of reality within a limited radius. When activated, they would make it appear as if the outpost had been destroyed by a catastrophic reactor failure. 90 minutes after arrival, the human ships disappeared back into the void, leaving behind no evidence of their presence except a destroyed outpost and dead Varaxians. The first hunt had ended. Many more would follow. At the headquarters of the Varaxian Imperium's military command, High Chancellor Vexer received the report of the outpost's destruction with growing concern. It was the 3rd such incident in the past month. "Analysis confirms another reactor breach," reported Fleet Commander Drazek, similar to the incidents at outposts 47 and 82. "Engineering suggests a potential design flaw in our fusion containment systems." Vexer's mandibles clicked in agitation. 3 critical failures in remote outposts within the same time frame. That stretches coincidence beyond reasonable limits. "What are you suggesting, High Chancellor?" "I am suggesting that we may be under attack," Vexer replied. "And if so, by an enemy sophisticated enough to make their assaults appear as accidents." Drazak's compound eyes flickered with the Varaxian equivalent of skepticism. "The primitive species from the colony we eliminated. Impossible. Our intelligence indicated they possessed only basic interstellar capabilities. The extinction team reported minimal resistance. Perhaps our intelligence was flawed," Vexer countered. "Increase alert status across all outposts and forward bases. Double security patrols and implement continuous system diagnostics. If someone is hunting us, I want to know who and how." Back on Earth, the United Human Defense Council received Captain Novak's after-action report with grim satisfaction. Admiral Chen presented the findings to the assembled military leadership. Operation Ghostfall was a complete success, she announced. All targets eliminated, valuable intelligence acquired, and no indication the Varaxians suspect human involvement. The holographic display showed the information extracted from the Varaxian outpost, star charts, communication protocols, fleet deployments, and most importantly, the location of what appeared to be major Varaxian military installations. Their species calls themselves the Varaxian Imperium, Chen continued. They control approximately 200 star systems and have been expanding for several millennia. Their society is built around the concept of preemptive security, eliminating any potential threat before it can fully emerge. General Williams studied the data with a cold intensity. That explains New Eden. They weren't responding to any actual threat. They simply decided we might become one someday. Precisely, Chen agreed. And according to their records, we're not the first. They've wiped out at least 7 other spacefaring species using the same justification. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The Varaxians weren't simply aggressive or territorial. They were systematic exterminators of intelligent life throughout their sphere of influence. Dr. Eliza Sharma, the Council's leading genopsychologist, spoke up. Their evolutionary history shaped this perspective. The Varaxian homeworld was exceptionally hostile, with multiple apex predator species competing for dominance. The Varaxians developed a psychological imperative to eliminate competitors before they could become threats. Can they be reasoned with? Asked a council member. Is negotiation possible? Sharma shook her head. Their psychology doesn't allow for coexistence with potential rivals. In their worldview, the only safe neighbor is a dead one. William's expression hardened. Then our course is clear. The Vengeance fleet launches in 3 days. Primary targets have been identified based on Captain Novak's intelligence. We'll continue with the original plan, systematic elimination of their military capabilities, followed by a final strike at their core worlds. And the civilian populations? Someone asked. A heavy silence fell over the room. The decision they were contemplating crossed a moral line humanity had established after its own blood-soaked history of warfare. Admiral Chen finally answered. They made this choice when they slaughtered our children without hesitation. There will be no distinction between military and civilian targets. Operation Extinction proceeds as planned. As the council session concluded, Dr. Sharma approached Williams privately. General, are we certain this is the only way? What we're proposing is genocide. Williams looked at her, his eyes reflecting not anger but a deep, controlled sorrow. We spent centuries evolving beyond our violent past, building a society based on cooperation rather than competition. When we reached the stars, we hoped to find others who had made the same journey. He pulled up the final images from New Eden, the school, the children. Instead, we found the Varaxians, a species so committed to violence that they exterminate others simply for existing. If we allow them to continue, how many other civilizations will they destroy? How many children on how many worlds will die because we hesitated? Sharma had no answer. Sometimes, Williams continued quietly, the only way to protect peace is to eliminate those who are fundamentally incapable of it. The Vengeance fleet departed Earth orbit 3 days later, 57 warships carrying the most advanced weapons humanity had ever developed. They moved in absolute silence, their communications limited to quantum-entangled channels undetectable by conventional means. Aboard the flagship UES Nemesis, Admiral Chen addressed the fleet commanders via secure link. The enemy believes they are the predator, she told them. They have never been hunted. They have never known fear. We will teach them both. As the fleet accelerated to FTL speeds, humanity prepared for a war unlike any in its history. Not a war of conquest or defense. Not a war for territory or resources. A war of extinction. The hunt had truly begun. Extinction Protocol. The Varaxian Defense Fleet orbiting their forward military base in the Helix Nebula was the largest concentration of their forces outside their home systems. 300 warships arranged in a defensive formation that had never been breached in the 2,000-year history of their empire. High Commander Tsarek, recently reassigned to strengthen this critical installation, observed the sensor readings with growing unease. The mysterious destruction of outposts and supply convoys had escalated over the past months. What had initially appeared as isolated incidents had evolved into a clear pattern. Someone was methodically dismantling the Imperium's extended infrastructure. "Perimeter scans negative," reported his sensor officer. No unusual activity detected in nearby systems. Tsarek's mandibles clicked in frustration. "Maintain maximum alert status. Deploy additional scout ships to expand our sensor range." The Varaxian military had never faced an enemy they couldn't see. Their doctrine had always been one of overwhelming force applied directly. But how do you fight an adversary that refuses to reveal itself? The answer came 20 minutes later, when 1/3 of the defense fleet suddenly exploded. There was no warning, no incoming fire detected, no energy signatures or missile launches, just a synchronized series of devastating internal explosions that tore through 100 Varaxian warships simultaneously. In the chaos that followed, Tsarek's flagship detected the first human vessels as they decloaked. Massive warships appearing from seemingly empty space, their hulls dark and angular, designed not for aesthetics but for pure lethality. "Unknown enemy vessels," shouted the tactical officer. "Multiple configurations, advanced technology signatures." Before Tsarek could issue orders, the human ships opened fire, but not with conventional weapons. What emerged from their specialized emitters was something the Varaxians had never encountered: directed quantum disruptor beams that literally unraveled the atomic structure of anything they touched. Varaxian shields, designed to deflect energy and kinetic impacts, offered no protection against weapons that attacked the fundamental nature of reality itself. Ships began to disintegrate, their molecules losing coherence, dissolving into clouds of dissociated atoms. Tsarek watched in horror as his fleet, the pride of the Imperium, was systematically erased from existence. "Establish communication with the enemy," he ordered desperately. "Attempt surrender protocols." But no response came. The human ships continued their methodical destruction, moving with a coordinated precision that spoke of extensive planning and cold determination. Aboard the UES Nemesis, Admiral Chen monitored the battle dispassionately. The quantum disruptors, weapons developed from theoretical physics studies that had been deemed too dangerous to pursue until the New Eden massacre, were performing beyond expectations. "Forward elements report Varaxian command ship identified," announced her tactical officer. "Shall we accept their communication attempt?" Chen considered this briefly. "No. There is nothing to discuss." The battle lasted less than an hour. When it concluded, the Varaxian defense fleet had ceased to exist. The military base followed shortly after, quantum disruptors reducing its massive structures to subatomic particles. No prisoners were taken. No survivors were permitted, just as at New Eden. For the first time in their long history, the Varaxian Imperium knew true fear. On their homeworld of Varaxis Prime, the High Council gathered in emergency session. The holographic displays showed the extent of the disaster, not just the destruction of the Helix Nebula base, but reports from across their territory of simultaneous attacks against military installations, shipyards, and supply depots. "How is this possible?" demanded Supreme Chancellor Craxus, his massive form trembling with rage and fear. "How could a primitive species we had dismissed as insignificant bring us to this point?" High Intelligence Director Thack stepped forward, his movements betraying his anxiety. "The humans were not what we assumed them to be. Our assessment teams on their colony world reported basic technology, limited defenses. We believed their capabilities matched what we observed." "You were wrong," Craxus hissed. "Yes," Thax admitted. "It appears they had hidden depths. Their colonial outposts utilized only a fraction of their actual technological capabilities, and their response to our preemptive security action has been unprecedented." Unprecedented. Craxus's mandibles clacked angrily. They are systematically destroying our civilization. That goes beyond unprecedented. Fleet Admiral Zorax, the Imperium's most decorated military leader, spoke next. Supreme Chancellor, we must sue for peace. Immediately. The humans possess technology that renders our defenses meaningless. Their stealth capabilities allow them to strike anywhere without warning, and they show no interest in anything but our complete annihilation. The Varaxian Imperium does not surrender, Craxus declared. The Varaxian Imperium will not exist if we do not, Zorax countered bluntly. Our analysis suggests they have developed their entire war strategy around a single goal, our extinction. Not conquest, not subjugation. Extinction. A heavy silence fell over the council chamber. Perhaps, suggested another counselor tentatively, we could offer reparations for the human colony. Acknowledge our error in judging them as a threat. Zorax laughed bitterly. You still don't understand. They are not interested in reparations or apologies. They have made a simple, cold calculation. Our species eliminates others as a fundamental aspect of our nature. Therefore, galactic security requires our elimination. They are applying our own doctrine against us, preemptive security taken to its logical conclusion. Despite Zorax's warning, the Varaxian Imperium dispatched peace envoys to human-controlled space. None returned. Messages broadcast on all frequencies went unanswered. Offers of surrender, reparations, territorial concessions, all met with silence. The human fleet continued its inexorable advance toward the Varaxian home systems. On Earth, the Defense Council monitored the campaign's progress. The strategy was working perfectly. The Varaxian military infrastructure was being methodically dismantled, their forces scattered and demoralized. They're attempting to surrender, reported Intelligence Director Harlow, displaying the latest Varaxian transmissions, offering complete withdrawal from all contested territories and significant technological exchanges. General Williams studied the messages without expression. Forward these to Admiral Chen. She has full authority on how to respond. Aboard the Nemesis, Chen reviewed the Varaxian surrender offers with her senior staff. Captain Novak, now serving as her tactical advisor, analyzed the proposal. They're desperate, Novak noted. These concessions would effectively end their empire. They're offering everything short of extinction. Chen nodded slowly. And yet, what guarantee do we have that 100 years from now, 1,000, they won't revert to their nature? Their entire evolutionary and cultural psychology is built around preemptive elimination of potential threats. So we do to them exactly what they did to New Eden, Novak said quietly. Complete eradication. Chen stared at the stellar map showing the Varaxian home system. 5 inhabited planets with a combined population of 22 billion. Not exactly, she finally replied. We're not them. Prepare a response transmission. 3 days later, the human fleet arrived at the outer boundary of the Varaxian home system. The remaining Varaxian defense forces had been consolidated there, a last desperate line protecting their homeworld and core colonies. Before engaging, Admiral Chen broadcast a message system-wide, ensuring every Varaxian would hear it. This is Admiral Helena Chen of the United Earth Forces. Your species committed genocide against human civilians without provocation or warning. You have done the same to at least 7 other spacefaring civilizations. Your continued existence represents an unacceptable threat to all intelligent life. She paused, letting the translation algorithms ensure her words were clear. However, we are not you. Total extinction is not our only option. The terms she outlined were harsh beyond measure. The Varaxians would be confined to their homeworld alone. All technology beyond a pre-industrial level would be surrendered. A permanent human monitoring station would orbit their planet, with quantum disruptors aimed at population centers, a constant reminder that annihilation remained one button press away. Any attempt to rebuild advanced technology, any space launch, any sign of returning to your former ways will result in immediate planetary sterilization. You slaughtered our children. We will never trust you again. but we will permit your biological existence, provided you never again pose a threat to others. The Varaxian Supreme Council, facing the extinction of their entire species, accepted the terms within hours. The war ended not with the glorious victory the Varaxians had always envisioned when they contemplated conflict, but with their complete subjugation. Human ships took control of their orbital infrastructure. Monitoring stations were established. The quantum disruptors were positioned. And across the former Varaxian Imperium, the species they had oppressed and the worlds they had conquered were liberated. Many of these civilizations, still recovering from Varaxian aggression, looked to humanity with a mixture of gratitude and fear. Earth had not sought the role of galactic protector, had not wanted to reveal its true technological capabilities so soon in its interstellar development. But the massacre at New Eden had forced humanity's hand. 1 year after the war's conclusion, Admiral Chen stood before the United Earth Council, delivering her final report on the Varaxian situation. "The monitoring systems are functioning as designed," she informed them. "The Varaxians have complied with all disarmament requirements. Their population has stabilized at pre-industrial technological levels. And do you believe they will remain contained?" asked the council president. Chen's expression was solemn. "They must. The alternatives were complete extinction or eventual repetition of their aggression against another emerging species. This compromise preserves their biological existence while protecting the rest of the galaxy from their nature." As the formal session concluded, General Williams approached Chen privately. "History will debate our decision," he said quietly. "Some will say we should have finished what they started. Others will argue we went too far." Chen looked out the window at the peaceful Earth skyline. "Perhaps, but we are not them, Marcus. The difference between us and the Varaxians isn't technological or even biological. It's philosophical. They believe security comes from eliminating all potential threats. We understand that true security can only come from creating a system where different species can coexist without fear." "And if they ever try to rise again?" Williams asked. Chen's eyes hardened. "Then we finish what we started. The quantum disruptors remain aimed at their major population centers. They know this. Everyone in the galaxy knows this." As word of humanity's victory spread throughout nearby star systems, Earth found itself in an unexpected position, approached by dozens of species seeking protection, alliance, and guidance. Species that had hidden their development, fearing Varaxian extermination. Species that had survived on the fringes of Varaxian territory. Species just reaching for the stars. Humanity had not sought the role of galactic peacekeeper, but in destroying one predator, they had revealed themselves as something perhaps more terrifying. A species of prey that, when provoked, could become the most dangerous predator the galaxy had ever known. The message was clear to all watching.